Wet with sauces.
Everything from damp to soaking wet. Come on, food is only good if
I
it's.
feel like I walked into a porn conversation.
Damp to soaking wet. Yeah.
What's up, motherfuckers? We're back with another episode of World 1-1 Podcast. I am your host, as always, Larry the Bearded Wonder. Joining me tonight is Kathy Twitchy Pants.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
And Josh the Little Gru.
Hello.
And we fired everybody else. So.
That's it. That's what we're doing now.
You pull an no-call, no-show, you know.
Larry the Zealot. He just...
rule with an iron fist. What up? Kiss the ring, bitch.
Bend the knee. It's over. How apt.
That's right. So, the usual shtick, you can, as always, find us at our home on Podbean at world11.podbean.com, all spelled out, all one word. You can, of course, also, for your audio listening earball pleasure, you can also pick us up at iTunes and Google Play Music and Spotify. Or if you need to stick us in your eye holes, you can also check us out on their YouTubes and Twitch. Kathy's already fed up with this shit. And if you can't stand the sound of our voice, but you just want to read the stupid shit that we do sometimes, we do post some stuff on the Facebook page and Twitch, and we're working on one of them. I guess it's what the kids are doing these days, an Instagram thing. So that's something that's coming, I guess. So what do you know? Anyways, now that we've got all the nonsense out of the way, let's get straight to. Oh my God, video games. Josh, the hell have you been playing? God damn it!
I knew you were going to come to me first. And I'm
it's
not
better
playing.
Than coming on you first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because then you're the party pooper. Then, you know, you can't be that way. Yeah, Kathy's done. All right. Yeah, I have not played
really
anything.
Keep her away
this
from
week.
the dip.
I have not played anything this week. I have watched some people play games. I have ordered more games for my Switch, and that's about it.
Yeah, what did you order?
Okay, so I ordered from Limited Run. Oh, I did. That was actually 2 weeks ago. I did a messenger from Limited Run.
Oh, didn't decided to go the.
Well, I figured
way?
you were doing the other way, and then we would have you'd have both. I know they're basically the same, just different art on it. So I just wanted to get it. I wanted to get it from Limited Run.
See what the artwork looks like.
Yeah, I got it. I also got R-Type Dimensions RX, or is it DX?
I was still sad I fucking missed out on that one, actually.
From Strictly Limited.
Yeah.
And they told me that is shipping soon, so I should get that in my hands real quick. What else? I have been kind of playing. I did play a little bit. Enter the Gungeon again. I'm still kind of playing that on Steam. It's a good game. Yeah. It's kind of a fun game just to kind of zone out with for a while.
Other than that, I take it.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice. It's a dungeon crawler with permadeath, kind of like almost like a roguelike with permadeath. It's really fun. It's just kind of like I play it for a little while and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
I don't like that.
I think you might actually. It's only like $6 on Steam.
I know, but my favorite roguelike really is Dead Cells, and part of the reason I like it is because it's got perma life.
Right. I hear you. Yeah. Maybe you wouldn't like it. I don't know. I know that like if Dylan's not playing it, he probably would like it.
Yeah.
Seems like kind of his bag to keep playing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I haven't really. I did order a VR game I was telling you guys about earlier. Robinson the Journey. Haven't got it in yet. I want to play it. So other than that, haven't done much.
Okay. And Kathy, what have you been playing?
Not much variety this time. Again, my usual Fortnite. I did make it to Division 6, and now I'm working my way up to Division 7 in the arena to get to the Champions League so that I can participate in the tournaments that are coming up starting this weekend for possible entries into the World Cup finals for Fortnite. Now, I don't anticipate getting there. I'm not that good. But it is, again, it's just fun to challenge and play against better players because it only makes my gameplay better. So,
sure.
Been playing Tetris
you're-
99.
You telling me you're looking to play in the tournament?
So I've been playing Tetris 99. This weekend, if you have it, they're doing a in-game event where they're gonna, if you play, they're gonna give you points based on how well you do in the game, and the top 999 scores, I guess, are gonna get some the eShop gold coins.
Yep, $10 worth. Well,
So-
$9.99 worth. This is the
So
second go round of this they've done.
yeah, so that's going on. Been playing the Blades on my phone.
Yeah, how is the old Xbox 360 interface?
Actually, it's a good game for a mobile game. Okay, it's
I'm
a
not
mobile.
harping on it.
It's a mobile. It's a mobile Elder Scrolls, and the lore is getting. I mean, there's a good story in there. I just haven't gone very far because that's the one thing you do need to level up quite a bit before they deem you strong enough to do some of the challenges and some of the quests. But
Okay, so I downloaded this too. I have not.
Mhm.
I haven't even clicked on it yet. So it's free to play, but they have like microtransactions, or
They do, but I haven't had to use any microtransactions
Right.
at this point.
okay,
It's kind of one of those if you want to progress a little faster.
quicker.
But
Yeah.
I actually, they've made some changes. First off, just so you know, you do need to have a Bethesda account. So if you have one,
Okay,
you
yep,
use
I
that to
got-
log
yep.
in.
All right.
But they just made some updates. For example, you get chests in the game for completing quests and jobs, and they take so much time to open, just like in any of those type of games. They have silver ones that were taking 3 hours, or you could pay 36 green gems, which is those are
Their currency.
the ones that,
Okay.
that have the microtransaction with it. But they just today updated it, so now it only takes an hour to open up those chests, or 12 green gems. It definitely makes that much easier, and the wait isn't that bad actually. So
Okay.
As long as there's plenty of other shit to do.
oh god, you can continuously do jobs and go through dungeons, but the thing is the dungeons are very repetitive, and I think that's the problem, is that they don't have much variety. They do have something called the Abyss, which is just basically like a dungeon crawl of going through floors until you die, and then you just get leveled loot for every level you complete. The nice thing about that is you can start on the last floor you were on, so as you get stronger you can continue working your way down. You don't have to start at the beginning.
Okay.
And then there will be something called the Arena. I don't know much about that, but it's not available yet, but it sounds like you might be able to fight other players.
So
But I'm not sure exactly what it is. But there is an interesting story behind it. You are trying to rebuild your town, which was attacked by mercenaries and a local queen. And then during the attack, a explosion occurred that leveled the entire town. So not only are you going on quests, you're trying to also rebuild your town as well. So there's the dual side of it, but they do need to come up with more areas to explore. Otherwise, it gets old real fast. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm already
Right.
at level 13. I've been playing for a couple of weeks, off and on. Starting to get stronger gear. Silver. I've started picking up silver gear, silver armor, weapons, all that stuff. So,
okay.
but yeah, it's not. It for an Elder Scrolls mobile game, it's decent.
Okay.
That's good.
Good.
At least in my mind. There are
Yeah.
people who are complaining about it. And
Of-
like I
of
said,
course.
I
There
haven't
always
had to
gonna
do
be.
now, and they were saying you needed to do the microtransactions. I have not felt the need to do them, because you do get green gems too during your playthroughs, and also for opening up chests. So I've never felt like I needed them
Okay.
per se, or I always had them when I wanted them. So, and then the other game, Dead Cells, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of now disappointed in that game
Why?
because it seemed too short.
I promise you, there's plenty more stuff that you haven't even seen, touched, looked at yet. And
But it's like I got to the Hand of the King, and I'm just like, That was easy. I'm done.
Oh, you're so far from done. Trust me.
But I don't feel like I have anything else left to do. I really don't. I mean, I got to him. I almost defeated him the first time. And then I got back to him and I defeated him. And I'm like, okay, that's it? Although the end credits were very funny. I will say that. Because it all was a loop. But I'm just like, I don't want to play it anymore. What else is there to do?
Okay, so a couple things. One, now that you've beaten Hand of the King for the first time, you now have an extra ability that you didn't before. The homunculus gives you some really cool shit that you can do. You'll want to kind of play around with it and experiment, but there is some really neat shit that the homunculus can do. Additionally,
what is that again?
It's where you can detach your fucking head from your body.
Yeah. I was playing around with that. I'm like, ew, gross.
Yeah, but there's some really cool stuff to do with the homunculus, including there's a handful of like secret things that you can only get to with the homunculus.
Okay.
Additionally, I guarantee you there is a shit ton of biomes that you have not even begun to see yet. For
example,
there's the graveyard. There's a ton of branching ones. Because I mean, if you really only had a couple playthroughs, there's no way you've seen them all. And on top of that, once you start playing with the boss cells turned on, it starts cranking up the difficulty. B, it also starts unlocking some stuff that you need the boss cells to unlock. So there was stuff that's kind of like there in the background of your first initial playthrough, pre-Hand of the King, that will actually become available to open up. And more of it will open up the more boss cells that you play with. But you start cranking up the boss cells, it starts cranking up the difficulty. So it starts throwing more advanced enemies in way sooner, and you start getting less and less health potion recharges in between biomes. So like a single boss cell, you only get to recharge your health flask once every other biome. And then it gets even more infrequent from there, the more boss cells that you're running with.
Okay.
And on top of that, too, if you want to crank up the stuff in the forge, so that what you're finding has higher ranks, you have to play with more boss cells in order to access those.
Okay.
And I know that there's. Yeah, I also know that there's blueprints that you can only get once you've got a couple of boss cells going.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. You have not steered me wrong yet.
I promise, if nothing else, play through, start playing through again, just no boss cells even, and just start taking some different pathways and checking out all the biomes. Because there's probably a few bosses that you haven't even seen yet.
No, there's only 2 I've seen.
Yeah, there's definitely more that you haven't seen.
I know. That's why I was like surprised when I got to the Hand of the King, and I'm like, wait a minute, where's everything else? Because the way you were kind of going on about it, I figured I was far from reaching him. So when I got to him, I'm like, what the fuck?
It'll take you roughly the same number of biomes to get from the beginning to the Hand of the King, but depending on which way you branch out, you'll see different shit along the way. All roads lead back to the Hand of the King, but there's no way to actually see everything in any single run.
Okay. Because it just has been one of those, like I said, I was just really disappointed when it's like I got through 2 of them. Although I did find my favorite combination for the bosses.
Oh?
What is it? I like to have either the ice or the fire grenade, and then it's the trap where it shoots the darts at them. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Oh, the double crossbow-matic?
Yes. I love having that, because that's actually how I beat them. And then any combination of a bow and arrow and really any sword or weapon. But
okay.
Yeah, having that crossbow, that is the best, because all I have to do is avoid them, and I just set those things up, and it's like the easiest battles I've ever had.
So
I don't have to do anything.
The homunculus is going to make your double crossbow-matic even more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you throw down the trap, you can use the homunculus, and you can actually pick it up and start moving it around.
Okay.
So you can totally be even more lazy and like out of reach for everything by way of the homunculus and a trap.
Fun.
It really is.
So, but yeah, that's really all I played this week. Just things have just been doing a lot of stuff. Did pick up a couple of free games though. Got Smite because somebody recommended it to me. Color is it Color Zen or Zen Color? It's
I don't know.
free. It's free on the Switch, and then
Is
because
it?
it
How did
was
I miss this?
Color Zen. It's a puzzler where it's got a border that's a certain color, and you got all these shapes, and you gotta combine all the shapes so that it fills up the screen with the color, and you want to have that border color as your last color.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a simple little stupid puzzle game.
Right.
And then because my daughter really loved Undertale, and she really wanted it, and since it was free, Deltarune Chapter 1 we also picked up. So
Right. I mean, for free, there's no good reason not to. Shit.
no. So that's pretty much it.
All
I
right.
got lots of games waiting in the background that I was told I couldn't play because somebody wants to be there when I play them for the first time. So, you better get his shit together.
And we're going to start some of that tonight, as a matter of fact.
I was waiting for you to say that, not me. So anyhow.
Yeah. So, so first of all, since it's been mentioned, anybody that's peeping us on Twitch, stick around because after the show, we're going to take a short break, and Kathy and I are going to be back. We're going to be running a new series that we're starting tonight called The Dumb Leading the Blind. And Kathy is going to be streaming and playing The Witness finally. And I'm going to Skype in with her. And Kathy has not played The Witness yet, so she's running blind. And I have played all the way through it. And I'm going to be Skyped in, and I'm just kind of going to be contributing to the conversation, some hints here and there, no spoilers. Maybe throw her the occasional red herring just to be an asshole. See how long it takes her to figure out which one's bullshit and which clues are not. So we have the dumb leading the blind, and we're going to be starting with The Witness, and it's going to be something that we're going to run with as an ongoing series. We've got a couple more games already on the docket for when we finish The Witness. So that's definitely something to check out. We've got some other fun new stuff that we're finally getting ready to get off the ground here in the next month or two, more than likely as well. So some other cool stuff to keep a lookout for. But shit that I've been playing, aside from like project coordination, I've actually played a bunch of stuff here in the last few days or so. Spent some time playing a little bit of Ikaruga with my fancy new flip grip that makes me totally happy. Thanks, Eddie. It's fucking awesome. What else did I play? I gotta go back through the list here. I picked up and I started playing Gardens Between finally. So Gardens
Really?
Between, yes, yes.
Eddie,
yes.
that's one Eddie really liked.
Yep. Yeah, it's not bad. It's kind of like, how you get like just the long single line pegboard puzzles, or peg puzzles where you're jumping stuff over to try and get all the pegs from one side to the other. Kathy, you remember there was one of those puzzles in Buried in Time.
Oh yes,
yeah.
yes.
Think that mixed with a little time manipulation and wrapped up like a cinnamon roll.
Why is everything about food with you?
I'm just giving it as an example.
Just saying.
Because cinnamon rolls are amazing. I miss having a Cinnabon at the mall here. We used to have one. We don't anymore. Now
I got
it's sad.
Cinnaminnies at Burger King right now, and they're awesome.
I know. It's not quite the same, though, as a full-blown Cinnabon. But the cinnamon rolls over at Rise and Roll are really fucking good, too. Though.
Okay, let's get back on topic, please. I want to play my game.
Yep. So, but Gardens Between is real pretty. I mean, if you can mentally unwrap the puzzle and lay it out flat in your head, it becomes much easier. Which it's part of what's made it simple for me is I think very spatially. And so my brain's going, okay, let's just like stretch this out and make sense of it. And it works. But But in any case, Gardens Between is still pretty good, though. It was a solid buy at like $10. I think I probably would have felt a little grumpier if I had paid the full 20 for it, but I caught it on sale for half off. Additionally, I've been finally sinking a little more into Dust through the stupid intro and into the actual meat of the game. It's a little less Metroidvania-y than I remember, and a little more questy than I recall.
Yeah.
But it's still not bad. I mean, the combat is fairly simplistic and just kind of vaguely button mashy.
But
Nothing
I love
real.
the music.
Oh, I know. The music is fucking awesome. And it is super pretty, and the voice acting is actually good. I love Fidget. Fidget's an adorable fucking character. But some of I don't know, it's good, but it's not clicking into amazing. But I'll probably actually end up finishing it this time. And I picked up this nifty little super retro indie shooter that's brand new on the Switch eShop, and it's called Switch and Shoot. And it is literally a one-button game. I kid you not. You totally play this game with nothing more than a thumb. So it's a vertically oriented shmup, and whenever you press the button to fire, you can't like hold fire and it just go. It's one button, one bullet. But every time you press the button to fire a bullet, it changes the direction your ship is going, left or right. You have no control, like no immediate hands-on control of the movement of your ship. Your ship just keeps moving left or right until you hit the button, and then it moves back the other way. And it will keep wrapping around the screen when you get to the edge, kind of a la Pac-Man. It's really good. It's super simple. It's real quick, real rapid fire. It's got a little bit of light, stupid humor in it that makes me laugh. And it's just pick up, go. And I mean, you'll get it, a little ways in, and you'll fuck it up, and it'll start you back over again. You're like, oh no, I can totally do better this time. And it has that hook. It's got that loop, and it'll keep you going and going and going. And it is totally compatible with the flip grip. And unlike Ikaruga, I really like this part. Instead of having to dig through the menus to change the vertical or horizontal orientation of the screen, that function is automatically mapped to the plus button. Hit the plus button, screen is flipped. Done. You can change it mid-game, anything. It's fantastic. It's got a bunch of different little color schemes, and it's not really relevant. It's just whatever is pleasing to the eye. But it's fun, and it's dirt cheap. It's less than $5. So legit, seriously, go get Switch and Shoot. And solid buy. Also, on the slightly less conventional path here, I went to the library today, and and apparently they have a new little mini installation in there. They have a tiny, like super tiny retro arcade in my public library downtown South Bend.
Nice.
Yeah. And like all the machines are totally free to play. They've got a couple, staples like Pac-Man and Asteroids and Centipede. And there's a couple of little lesser known ones. But what really caught my attention here, and I just sent you guys some pictures in the group chat so you can see what the fuck I'm sorry, not Centipede, Space Invaders. What really caught my attention here is that the Space Invaders and the Asteroids cabinets are not just like they've got a little extra to them. So they actually run with reflected monitors, and the background they have really cool like artwork, and like especially the Asteroid one has some really neat like 3D kind of popped artwork against the reflector as well. And it looks really fucking like neon retro pretty. It's awesome. Like, oh, that's fucking eye-catching. I'll play that. So we sat and played, and Olivia played some Miss Pac-Man, and she had fun. And so, but yeah.
These would be great on our Instagram. Just saying.
Okay, well, I'll get you the Instagram stuff. You can put them up there.
Why would I put them up there? They're on your phone.
I know, but now you have them.
Not my job.
So, well, it's gonna be. In any case, so yeah, that's a thing. So I did get to play a little bit of that. That was really fucking cool. It was totally unexpected. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing.
Cool.
Cool.
See, I played stuff.
I know.
Yeah,
Usually
did
you
a lot.
don't.
You did a lot.
And I picked up an extra goodie today because I had a $5 certificate for Best Buy, and my Gamers Club is still active till about next year, about this time next year. And so between the two, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go nuts, but I will go spend that gift certificate before it expires. Figured I'd go pick up an indie game, and I saw Moonlighter, and I almost bought Moonlighter, except I saw they had the physical of something that has been on my Switch wish list since launch day.
What,
And I
Rhyme?
keep looking at it
Rhyme?
thinking, no.
Oh, okay. I'm just
No,
guessing.
Rhyme wasn't Switch launch.
I Am Setsuna?
What was that?
I Am Setsuna?
Nope, I've actually got that one.
Oh, okay. All right, then I don't know.
I picked up a hard copy of Bose.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I hear that's good.
I'm excited to play it. Slick looking rhythm game. I remember when it first came out too. You could only play it in handheld because you needed the touchscreen, and they've since run updates so you can play with a controller too.
Oh.
So you can play it docked.
So how does that work?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't popped it in. It just looked interesting, and I like
Yeah.
rhythm game, so I figured, fuck it, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah.
So it's taking the place of Super Beat Sonic in my indie case. So, but yeah, that's one that I'll probably be piddling around with over the next couple days as well. But yeah, between the certificate and the Gamers Club, I was out the door for under $20 cash.
Cool.
Not bad.
So, yep, I was happy with that one. Plus, the artwork is really pretty on the cover. Like, it's totally fucking Japanese anime strange, but it's pretty. Like, it's not super obnoxious, overbearing.
No,
it's
it's
no,
good. It's well done.
yeah, it's that kind of almost ethereal cyber thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's neat, but it's really easy on the eyes just visually with the color palette and the way they did it. I'm like, that's cool. So I'm totally curious to dig into it and check it out and see how the artwork, if it ties into any sort of like semblance of a story or anything. But I don't even care if it does or doesn't. I've got it now and I want to play it. It looked neat. That's enough for me. But anyways, so now that we've gotten through all that, we've reached the part of the show where we say break. All right, we're back with bonus room. Or bonus round. This is the mid-break nonsense. This week we're here with a mini review of something a little different that isn't inside the normal realm of the show per se, but it's something that we seem to talk about a lot, and it drives Kathy up a fucking wall. So this week we're gonna do a mini live review of Rufus Teague Made Some Sauce.
Oh, fuck you!
Whiskey Maple barbecue sauce.
Fuck you with the food!
Sauce is not food, Kathy.
It's sauce. It's a condiment. Your camera's all weird and fuzzy, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I don't care about that one. The
It's
one that
kinda cool,
matters.
though. Like, you're in focus, but the background is fuzzy, and
You
it's
know
actually
what's-
kind of a cool effect,
I thought
But
it
that's
was
the other
it was like an Apple camera, like one of those depth ones, you know?
right?
No, it's actually, yeah, and it's a cheap camera that we got. No, I use my professional camera for the actual
Next
stream.
week for bonus round, we're going to review Kathy's camera. So, this week we have Rufus Teague Made Some Sauce, Whiskey Maple barbecue sauce. So I want to take a look at the bottle here because right off the bat, this is actually really fucking cool. This thing comes in like a glass flask. It's awesome. It's even like curved in the back and everything. So let's start by kind of checking out the label here. So right up front, it makes me happy because it says, "Go ahead, take a nip," and on the other side it says, "Fine boozy sweetness." So looking at the back here, it even specifically says, "Worth reading. It didn't happen overnight, but Rufus Teague's sauce has sure come a long way. From the old pot he used to stir it in, to winning competitions all over the place, this sauce hasn't changed much. If he was still around, there's no doubt he'd be telling everyone within earshot of how he knew he had something with this recipe from day one. And remember, good sauce makes bad barbecue good and good barbecue gooder. Specifically, makes me real happy on the back here. It says directions, eat on meat.
Nice.
It's beautiful. It really is. Even the ingredients list is kind of great because the ingredients list has a little thing over it that says, here's what he mixed together.
So which one is this?
This is Rufus Teague made some sauce, whiskey maple barbecue sauce.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and crack this open. You got to start with a good whiff here. It's got a real strong up front. It's got a real strong brown sugar smell to it. Additionally, it is super thick. This isn't like thick. This isn't like thin runny sauce. This is like super thick. It's going to stay on everything sauce. I'm going to give it a little pour here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Just a little bit right there. Oh, nice and slow, almost like ketchup. It's just slow drip. Yeah. Beautiful. So, so much like the smell there, right up front, you get a real strong brown sugar flavor in there. Coming in right behind it, though, to kind of level it out nice and smooth and finish it off, you really do get that fantastic whiskey flavor in there, and it does have that brown sugar starts to taper off, and it smooths out with that whiskey in there and the maple. Oh, just fantastic! Like this absolutely belongs on a big fucking rack of pork ribs. Ugh. Just the meatier, the better. And I mean, like, don't like put it on and then no, cook the things and then just put the sauce straight on right at the end and serve. Fantastic. I will tell you from previous experience too. It does cook really well though. We did some crock pot chicken with this stuff. Oh my god, chicken just pulls apart. Serve on like Tostito scoops, and then pour salsa con queso on top of it, and just eat. Oh, just spectacular. So yummy. So yummy. But that is, I give this a solid 9 out of 10 as on the barbecue sauce scale here. One more right there. I'm gonna be treating my employees to this at work on Saturday, by the way. So if you work for me, you're in for a treat. But yeah, so that's Rufus Teague made some sauce, whiskey maple barbecue sauce from Kansas City. Damn good. And we'll say that's it for the bonus round. And we'll be back with the third half of the show in just a minute. Welcome back to the third half of the show. This is the back end where we either make our way on over to the news desk or, like tonight, we take a deep dive into a particular subject. So tonight we're kind of combining two ones that we've kind of touched on the periphery by themselves, but tonight we're kind of going to look at that subject, those two subjects together. And how the conversation around those kind of goes hand in hand, actually. So for those that have not checked it out, we did a deep dive about 2 months ago, give or take, somewhere around there.
It was in December, or actually November.
More
November.
like 4.
Oh fuck! It really has been.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I know.
Fuck me.
End of November.
So
Beginning of December. Yeah.
Yep. We did a deep dive on innovation versus accessibility and inclusion, and we're also going to be looking at how that folds in with things like easy mode and difficulties. The conversation seems to come up every time something Souls-like-ish comes around. That also came up when Cuphead came out as well. So anytime one of those games that tends to make its name on being balls to the wall hard comes out, this conversation tends to resurface. And so we wanted to take a little bit of a different look at this than what normally comes up. and we're going to be seeing how those two kind of come together, and if and how and should it change the conversation. Also, for anybody watching on Twitch, I am about to drop you a link to the prior episode with the accessibility versus innovation and inclusivity episode as well. So that way, if you want, you can reference back to that. And I will also throw a link to that in the show notes as well, so that you can pull that up as well and head on back to that if you want it. But in any case, so let's get this started here, because obviously the game in question this time around is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. And again, we've got ourselves another Souls-like game, up on the block here, and the conversation comes up again. Should there be an easy mode? And you get a lot of people, which frankly I still don't understand the argument here, that say no easy mode. It's an awful, terrible thing. Fuck you, get good, and that's the end of the conversation for them. But we're kind of really looking at it. At least I'm looking at it going, well, why? Seriously, I mean, as a developer, I would think, in theory, that it would be worth putting in for a couple reasons. One, it should not be that much more effort, at least from the outside looking in. I will totally own that I don't know it for certain, but from the outside looking in, you would think it would not be that much more effort to just kind of go in and scale the damage numbers.
Right.
So that it's more manageable for other people that don't necessarily have the skill set for that. And it would be good for sales, because you're going to manage to pick up some more people that will not buy it otherwise, because they know that they're not going to be able to beat it. They just don't have that skill set and actually get to play and enjoy your game and the story that you're telling. And I part of me thinks, frankly, that honestly, if you're not putting it in there so that more people can enjoy your story, it almost smells to me like maybe you don't have a story that's that worth telling, that more people should be checking it out. Hard look at you guys. Anyways, but the bigger question here, though, is should it be in there so that those that are disabled can play it? I was literally just playing earlier today, but right before we started recording, Switch and Shoot, which is great from an accessibility standpoint, because it's literally one fucking button. That's it.
Right.
One button. I can play this whole game, one button. You will play this whole game with only one button. And that's awesome. And it doesn't stop it from being challenging. There is definitely some get good aspect to it, but it's highly accessible in that regard. It's just a matter of how fast can you push that button sometimes. That's it.
What if you can't push the button?
Then something like the Xbox accessibility controller is a great option.
And that's why I'm saying I don't think I think that's where the conversation needs to go is, where is the accessibility? Is it with the accessibility? Is the issue with the game itself or with the controllers
and the hardware?
The hardware to play the games. And I think we've seen, and if we've seen people who have having to adjust to what is provided to them and have done very well without games being on needing an easy mode. And I think the hardware especially with the Xbox coming out with their accessibility controller, there is no need for gamers or the game developers to create these they don't have to create these modes for people who have the disability, who have the disadvantages to with their disability. So because they can now adjust and set up this this particular controller to work for them and still play the game as it was meant to be played. So it's It's kind of a toss-up. I mean, which way do you go? Do you make it the game or do you make it the hardware?
Maybe
I mean,
a little of both.
Yeah, I mean, it could probably be both.
But does it need to be easier? I mean, again, does it need to be easier? If you can, I mean, if you know your controller, it's just like me. When I play the controller, I know where all the buttons are. This other person who set up their controls, they know where everything is, and as long as they know that, doesn't need to be made easier. I mean, for that particular
I think part of it,
population.
I think part of it too is like in the Souls game, light game, especially like Sekiro, or even you need to understand the patterns of the enemies that you're fighting and stuff like that. And when you do that, you need to do it in a certain timing. And I don't know if like people are saying like, should this timing be different? Or what kind of accessibility are they talking about? I mean, are they talking about literally ramping, like you have more health and the enemies are lower health, or
probably?
You know,
I think there's a certain scaling that could be done there,
right?
And I think make it more manageable,
right?
But
so, kind of that stuff it's interesting. It's an interesting conversation to have, and it's also an interesting conversation. Does it take away anything from the game?
Having played on easy mode, I never found it takes away from the game, because I'll usually choose easy mode. Like when it came to Skyrim, I'll admit, and even to this day, I play under the novice, whatever the lowest, the easiest setting is. And yeah, people can be like, "Oh, that you have no skill," but the truth is, I'm looking to play it as an immersive game.
Right.
By having it on the easy mode, I'm not always dying and then having to wait to reload. And plus, in this way too, I'm the type of person who wants to play it as a story, and if I die, then I'm done with that character. I'm creating a new one. So this way I can actually live the life of this character without dying in the first dungeon, per se, because I've got it on such a frickin' difficult mode. So it's nice to have that option, but then you get people, when you do play games on easy mode, who tend to say, well, who look at you and think, oh, well, you're not a good gamer because you're playing stuff on easy mode, and that can be a little discouraging to your ego when that happens. So, but again, it should be a choice. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What jab?
I know what the fuck you're getting at.
I am not What are you talking about, Larry?
Your fucking queen fight. I knew what you were getting at.
That's not what I'm. Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. Man, you haven't? Jeez. But no. You see it all the time. Come on. People.
Oh, I know.
Beat the hand of the king faster than you fucker.
Wow.
You also had all the updates first and all the change shit that seemed to make a huge world of difference, by the way. Not knocking it by any means. It definitely changed the way everything kind of worked in that regard too, though.
Suck their sauce.
Oh, I will. All the sauce. But I will say too, though, to the point that you made, Kathy, though, is is it hardware or is it software? Right. And I think, frankly, it depends on the person and what the disability is that they're up against too.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
It's if it's a coordination issue, then it's a software thing that you could adjust. They can work the controller just fine. It's a coordination and muscular issue possibly, where they need a little extra leeway in order for it to work for them. And for others, they can manage to keep up skill wise as long as they have a controller that works for them for their particular disability.
Right.
So it depends, but I think that there's absolutely no reason. I can't think of a good reason, I'll put it that way, to not at least include the easy mode, so that those that at least offer to solve one problem or one side of that problem that is literally within your control as a developer and publisher, where you can with minimal effort. Nobody's asking them to make the controller or the hardware. That's on the platform holders, and props to Microsoft for getting on it with that. But the
But not the first.
No, not the first, but they did a
No.
really good job as
They
far
did.
as
Oh, it's an excellent. I think
Pepper.
it's excellent. And I've heard a lot of people. I do know a lot of people who are disabled, and they have that controller, and they said it works amazingly for for being able to play games that they
I
couldn't play
really want
before.
to try it. I
Mhm.
really do, just for the experience of something
Yeah.
different. Not that I need it, but I'm curious to check it out.
But
But
what
yeah.
I was going to say is, again, okay, so we talk about the developers creating this easy mode. To what extent do developers have to do we
Do they
have
have to?
should
No.
I mean, but is that something that they should be doing? Is that something that should be regulated, that there has to be, kind of like we have the regulations for, here in the US for, how buildings are designed so that they are accessible? Do video game developers have to, is that something that should be done? I'm not saying it should, but is that something that should be done?
Okay, here's where my politics is about to come into play. No, it should not be regulated.
Okay.
Here's why. One, it's not an essential function thing. It's not like
Right.
you can't get into the building to, or you don't have a bathroom that you can use. It's a non-essential. Ergo, regulation not needed. And so anytime, whenever humanly possible, I'm a big proponent of keep the government the hell out of it. But that being said, from a pure fiscal and business mentality, I think they should. It's fucking smart business. The more people that can play and enjoy your game, the more people that are going to buy it, the more fucking money you make for what, in theory, at least as far as I can tell, and I'm sure somebody's going to call me an idiot and tell me otherwise, if they're listening. But in theory, I would imagine an easy mode or an easier mode should not be that difficult to implement. So you could probably get a really sizable return for a pretty minimal investment. And isn't that a fucking good thing? I mean, you're in a business here. Usually the goal of business is to make some money. So if you can make more money, like multiples more money than it cost you to make that money, that's smart fucking business.
But do these people consider themselves artists? And is it more about
Right.
the art?
You ain't gonna be able to keep
over
making
the
art
money.
unless somebody funds it.
Yeah, but again, if they feel that they can get enough money for what they want without having to sacrifice their artistic vision, not envision, but their artistic vision, again, that's just something that, that's part of the freedom with these games.
Right. I mean, end of the day, that's up to the developers as to whether or not they want to be friendly to that sector.
Well, and they may lose
population.
people. They may lose people who say there shouldn't be an easy mode, who may decide, fuck this company, I'm not going to buy their game because they're messing with the aesthetic and the.
Well, my whole thing
what I
is,
want.
if it's a choice, what does it really matter?
Well, to
Yeah,
some
that's the
people, it
thing.
matters a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, come on, let's be honest. To people, it matters. I think the three of us would agree it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm totally on that same side. It doesn't matter if there's an easy mode. I like having the easy mode. Gives me a chance to learn the game. Then I
Right.
can go back and test it later and prove that I can play on normal mode. And hard, difficult, kick your ass mode. But, to others, they like the challenge, but it should be an option.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it's an option and you have an issue with there being an option for easy mode, maybe the problem is with your self-restraint and your ability to not use the easy mode. Just
Or
saying.
it's what it is. I think honestly, for a lot of people, it's kind of this elitism thing they have.
Oh, I know
like,
it is.
games should be
I
hard.
know it is.
And if you can't get good at it, well, then guess what? You shouldn't play games.
Yeah.
And they use that as like they like sit on that mountaintop and yell it all the time. And
Yeah.
it's part of the toxicity of the internet
yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
And
Fuck
and
the
just
casual gamer. I
right.
hear that all the time. It's
Or
like,
you're not a gamer because you just
Yeah.
play mobile games or you play Fortnite. You're not a gamer. We totally understand you're a gamer, just that you're not a very good one if that's all you play is Fortnite. So, right?
Like,
No, I'm just kidding.
or because you're a female, you're not a gamer. I'm
Right, right, that kind of stuff. But
So I'm really sucking because I play Fortnite and I'm a female. So obviously I am
yeah,
real. I'm like
stacked
negative
against you.
gamer.
like I'm all for get good in the purely humor comedy aspect.
Right, like
Yeah.
But
like
if
a
that's
good,
your literal like mantra of how to live your fucking life kind of shit, you've got a fuck.
Yeah.
You have an issue.
right. And if you're getting good is getting in the way, like that's your kind of way of thinking. If that's
Right.
getting in the way of someone actually that could play this game with just a little bit of help, what does
Yeah.
it hurt you? I mean, it's not a multiplayer game that
Yeah,
you
no
know.
shit.
It's not like you're playing Overwatch and they're getting all sorts of stuff that you're not getting. So it doesn't really affect you in any way.
Yeah, it makes no fucking sense to me.
Right.
I don't fucking get it. Seriously. Like I know where it's coming from. Like you said, it's that elitism bullshit. But I mean, seriously, nothing is stopping you from continuing to take pride in the skill that you have amassed and accrued by way of, lots of practice and time and dedication. And that's awesome. That's no less impressive just because somebody else got to enjoy the game because somebody put a fucking easy mode in.
Right.
Seriously.
Right. And then somebody with a disability, I
Yeah.
mean, for them, that easy mode is them playing the game or not playing the game.
Yeah.
And why not open up those games to other people?
Exactly.
Like legit, I have a friend with Parkinson's. She's a gamer. She loves playing games, but what she can play is limited.
Right.
The muscular coordination is just not there for her. And, it's one of those things that it's like, for the most part, she's limited to playing things that are not timing sensitive. So
Right, like a single player
yeah,
experience.
turn-based RPGs, puzzle
Yeah.
games, things like that. That's kind of what she's limited to. But there's a ton of stuff that she would love to be able to play and can't. And I think for somebody like her, combine like the accessibility controller with an easy mode, and that somehow that probably starts to become manageable for her to be able to actually get to play and enjoy that game.
Right. And if that's all that's standing in their way, like I think we do agree, like all of us, and I think a lot of people, if you actually sat them down and said, look, this person cannot play this game, physically cannot play this game, unless they add this whatever in, they would say, oh yeah, why not?
Yeah.
But I don't think they're seeing it from that perspective.
Well, and the thing is, and this was brought up in the last time you guys talked about it. The thing is too, we got to look at what developers are, where they're coming from, and you guys talked about different countries, their views on disabilities, and certain countries do
Right.
not view the disabilities the way we do here in America. So of course, those companies are not going to factor in the thought of that, and that can explain why there will where America we think about that, we're trying to make things accessible. That's why Xbox, Microsoft came out with that, with the accessibility controller, but it may not be on the it's not part of the normal I don't want to say normal thinking, it's just not part of their everyday thought process
Right.
in other countries.
Right. It's true.
I mean, because
Yeah.
I think those are I think that's where we see these games that do not have this easy mode. They're coming from outside the U.S. And that's not to bash on any other country. It's just, it's a different way of living. And it's a different way of being brought up and a different way of thinking. And nothing wrong with that. It's just, so it's just, that's that culture. And that's how they're going to make their games.
But that's, I don't know. It's just one of those things. In the words of Wayne, fucking figure it out, bud.
Yeah.
Like I looking at every one of those developers that doesn't, and it's just like, give your balls a tug. So, I don't know. I'm boggled, and Eddie's not here to argue the opposite side of this, which
I know. The opposite side, I think, is a business side, and like he might talk about, or other people I have heard, they say, well, that costs money to develop and all that kind of stuff, but really, or how much money are we talking about? How much time I mean, I'm not a game developer, so I don't really know, but it shouldn't, like, for scalability. I mean, they have them in games all over the place. Like Bethesda games I mean, if you play Wolfenstein 2, there's like, 5 levels of difficulty to choose from?
But it wasn't always that way. Remember, they started off, remember Arena? People were having trouble getting out of the first section of the the sewers. So it's not always been that way. But that brings it up too. Why is it now all of a sudden, that I think that's been the big thing too, is games didn't used to have easy mode. Why all of a sudden now are we having the easy mode? And again, I think it's to bring in more gamers. But, I think that's probably where some of this argument comes to from before. We never had that easy mode growing up.
Actually, Bob Chipman.
Except for the Game Genie, okay, but that doesn't count.
I was just going to say, Bob was just talking about this earlier. That there wasn't an easy mode, but we had fucking cheat codes everywhere.
Right, Game Genies, cheat codes,
Konami codes, not just Game Genie, but stuff that was literally built into the game to make it like playable.
Like you said, Konami code. I mean, that was the only way I could beat Contra.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the only way, like, most people that beat Contra could beat Contra.
Right.
But all it did was give you more lives, didn't change the levels, didn't change anything else about the game. It just gave you more lives. Is that really an easy mode?
Well, back then it was kind of, because if you died, you only had 2 lives or whatever. And
you're starting all the way over from the beginning again.
Yeah.
Think of it like a giant health extension. Ergo, you've now just cranked down the difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
So I would venture to say that Konami code was easy mode for Contra.
Which they got to bring that game back. I'm so fucking sick and tired. I can't play that game. Sorry.
Did you play Contra 4, by the way?
Mm-mm.
Oh, Contra 4 was so good. It was a way forward joint on the original DS, and it was like a full vertical orientation, like both screens together as one big screen.
I didn't have a DS.
It's super good, and you can find it.
I'm poor. Cheap. I don't get to play games like that. I was a poor child during the DS era, trying to make a living.
If the opportunity ever presents itself, grab yourself a cheap like DS Lite and a copy of Contra 4. It's not horrifically expensive.
Okay, but we got off topic.
We did, but we still kept it on games.
Yeah,
it was better than the cinnamon roll thing earlier.
Way better.
I'm hungry now.
I think
between the sauce and cinnamon rolls, god damn it. Hungry.
I'm hungry.
Damn. Sorry, getting off topic again. See, this is what happens when I get hungry. I get just can't think straight.
I should tell you about the broccoli and cheese stuffed pork chops I had for dinner.
Fuck you. Seriously. Shut the
do that while you're playing.
Oh god. I'm gonna fuck you. Fuck.
But yeah, I got nothing beyond that. I'm just at a loss because I can't fathom the ROI being less than the cost to implement this shit.
Right. I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, I
That'd
don't
be
really know what
interesting to
I don't know what
ask.
I don't know what the argument is against it now. Anyways,
Like you said, it's the elitist thing. It's the.
Here's another thing too, actually, that just occurred to me, and I don't mean to cut in. I don't want to lose this thought.
Okay.
But I do think that this conversation would change significantly if some of the rights and advocacy groups got involved and actually started actively making a push, a movement on this.
Yeah.
Right.
Because right now,
it's awareness.
Isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
it's
odd.
Right. Well, I think the vast majority of people just don't think about it.
Don't get me wrong; they're probably fighting bigger fights, but still.
Well, it's a big fight though, because I mean,
it makes me wonder if a lot of people, they maybe don't think about playing video games.
Right. They don't think about it as like a viable hobby, something you could actually do.
Totally could be.
It totally is. Yeah. I'm proud to play video games.
And actually, the most accessible game, like for example, Nintendo has made is, in my mind, is that Super Mario Run. You just tap one.
God, yeah.
You just tap on a screen.
And it's still fucking fun.
And it's really fun.
It is.
So, I mean, it doesn't take away the challenge.
Not at all.
The game is challenging. It just has to be designed correctly. Mm-hmm. So between design and all that, I think, we could probably figure it out.
No, I totally agree. So, but, I mean, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Shout out to those that, go the extra mile for that accessibility.
Yes.
Love to Daniel Goffin, who I need to get a hold of him and see if we can get him back on, because shameless plug, free plug for you, Dan. His spectacular puzzle game, She Remembered Caterpillars, just dropped on Switch. So if you haven't checked it out, you all fucking should. And you should also go back and check out the episode with Daniel talking about the extra steps and measures and lengths he went to make this game accessible to those that otherwise would not have been, in terms of like issues with colorblind for a game that is literally puzzle color centric.
Right.
And there you just said it. He had to go back and purposely put in some extra work. So again, there must be some extra stuff that needs to go in that some developers just don't want to do.
Yes, but here's the fun part. There are tools for that already made. Like the tools literally exist. All you have to do is just implement them.
Use them. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. As a matter of fact, while we're chatting here, I am scrolling back, and I'm going to drop a link to that one in here too for an easy reference back as well, because that's one that you should that anybody should absolutely listen to, and check that out. You're gonna have to give me a second here. I'm close to it. I know. I just gotta find exactly where. But yeah, no, I mean. But for anybody that this conversation is absolutely relevant to, if you have a Switch or a PC, do go check out She Remembered Caterpillars. Like I said, it's a very color-centric puzzle game, but for those that are colorblind, guess what? He went the extra mile to make sure that you could still enjoy it. And it's not just a puzzle game. That game has an actually really good fucking story in it. That should definitely be checked out. So
yeah, that's interesting. Fortnite has a colorblind mode too, for all different types of colorblindness as well.
Sure, good,
nice.
Yeah, I forgot about that. And actually, some players who are not colorblind use those settings because it actually makes it more clear for them and gives them a little bit more contrast.
Right.
So. Yeah.
There we go. Got it. All right. So we're going to drop that right into the chat on the Twitch stream. And then you'll also be able to find that in the show notes as well. There we go. So, yeah. Definitely a solid recommendation. Don't sleep on that one, by the way, though. That's just that game's a solid get. Um, but again, like I said, I'm gonna reach out to Dan and see if we can get him back on in the very near future, hopefully. But I think we've, unless you guys want to hit on anything else, I think we've maybe reached a point we can wrap this up. And speaking of people coming on, I do believe we have a date locked down for the return of the King of the Bees. The one, the only Mr. Topher Cantler should be back joining us again on the 24th. So you can catch that on the live stream on the 24th. And if
Of
you missed
April or
yes,
May?
this
Okay.
this month, the
Just
24th.
making sure.
Yep. And if you missed the live stream, you'll of course be able to pick that up and download that at our home on Podbean at world11.podbean.com, all spelled out, all one word, or iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, or if you want the video version, you can always, of course, check it out on their YouTubes, and you can always watch the replay on the Twitch channel as well for as long as it hangs around up there. So yeah, that's a thing to look forward to as well. Topher was an absolute ball, and we're happy to have him back on. For anybody not familiar with his handiwork, Topher has a long and delightful career with Destructoid.com, as well as their phenomenal old retro podcast, Retro Force Go. So, but we're gonna have Topher back on just to kind of generally shoot the shit a little bit, and I think maybe especially now that I've been getting my hands on Switch and Shoot here in the last day or two, I think we're definitely going to talk about Switch and Shoot some, because Topher does love his shmups. So
yeah, he does. Yep.
But in any case, but yeah, that I think that brings us to the end of the third half of the show. So as always, I want to thank everybody that tuned in to check us out tonight here on the Twitch channel as we record live. Thank you to everybody that downloaded us on our audio outlets, as well as watched us on our video outlets. Big shout out to my wonderful co-hosts, Kathy and Josh tonight. Shout out to Dylan and Eddie that couldn't be with us because they got fired from the show, but I will consider rehiring them next week. Maybe just at a lower pay rate.
They get paid?
Not
Shit.
anymore.
Damn.
So, but in any case, so, and again, for anybody that's with us right now on our Twitch channel, make sure you stick around here. Coming up shortly, we're going to be back on with the first installment of our new run, our new series, The Dumb Leading the Blind, where we'll be going through The Witness.
Or I'll be going through The Witness.
You will be going through The Witness, and I'll just make it more miserable.
He's gonna fall asleep, is what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna keep playing, and he's gonna be sleeping, snoring.
No, when people play
and
The Witness, my brain is locked.
And we'll just all stream him sleeping all night.
I just bought a whole fresh stock, like 25 hours. I'm good
Don't
for like
you have to work in the morning?
And that never stopped me before. Shit.
That is true, but yeah, then never mind. I'll shut up. I'll just shut up.
So
I'm actually dying to play the game, so
I know, and I can't wait for you to get into this. It's so good. So good.
All right, it's coming soon. Coming soon.
We start playing The Witness, and I may very well be.
It's gonna be real fun. All right.
So, all right, you crazy kids. Everyone have a great night. Thanks for tuning in, and if you're with us on Twitch, stick with us, and we'll be back shortly. Everybody say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night.
Good night.
Peace.